Let me paint you a picture of corporate obsession. It's late 2013, and somewhere deep inside GM's engineering bunker, a team of very serious people are building a $75,000 Camaro with no air conditioning, no stereo, and thinner glass. Because weight reduction is a lifestyle choice, they removed everything except the back seat. And the only reason that survived? Because the metal bracing needed to replace it weighed more than the foam seat itself. I wish I was making this up. Here's what happened. Ford released the Boss 302 in 2012, a sharp, focused track weapon that made Mustang enthusiasts weep tears of joy. It was precise, it was affordable, it was everything the bloated 5th-gen Camaro wasn't. GM watched this happen, and decided the appropriate response was to stuff a Corvette Z06 engine into a Camaro, charge dramatically more than the Boss, and call it a track car. Because when you're losing, why not just throw money at the problem? Plot twist. By the time the Z28 finally hit dealerships in 2014, the Boss 302 was already gone. Ford had discontinued it after the 2013 model year. GM built a car to destroy an enemy that no longer existed. That's commitment. But here's where GM actually earned my respect. Under that hood sat the LS7, an all-aluminum 7.0-liter naturally aspirated V8 straight from the Corvette Z06. 427 cubic inches of American displacement, 505 horsepower, 481 pound-feet of torque, all revving to a glorious 7,000 RPM, 505 horsepower, 505. And here's the beautiful part. No turbos, no superchargers, no electronic wizardry pretending to be power. Just 8 cylinders, massive displacement, and the kind of naturally aspirated scream that makes your neighbors question your life choices. So much power. Physics filed a complaint. The LS7 came with a dry sump oiling system, because this engine was built to handle sustained high G cornering without the oil sloshing around like soup in a bowl. Titanium connecting rods, titanium intake valves. This wasn't a parts bin special. This was race car technology wearing a streetcar disguise. One transmission option, a Tremec TR60606 6-speed manual. No automatic, no compromise. If you couldn't drive stick, GM politely suggested you buy a different car. Finally, a manufacturer with standards. Let that sink in. A modern American car with no automatic transmission option. GM actually told customers, learn to drive or go away. Now, the 5th-gen Camaro had a weight problem. At nearly 4,000 pounds, it handled like a cruise ship with a V8 strapped to it. GM's solution: strip everything that wasn't absolutely necessary. Air conditioning? Optional, and cost extra. Stereo system? Gone. Replaced by a single speaker that existed only to make the seatbelt warning chime audible. Sound deadening material? Deleted. Trunk carpet? Who needs it? Rear window glass? Made thinner to save weight. Every gram counted. And here's my favorite engineering detail. They kept the back seat. Why? Because removing it would have required structural reinforcement that weighed more than the seat itself. When leaving the seat in makes your car lighter, that's when you know engineers have taken over the asylum. Final curb weight, 3,820 pounds without AC. Still heavy, but 300 pounds lighter than the supercharged ZL1. Sometimes progress means subtraction. If you're enjoying this deep dive into GM's beautiful obsession, subscribe and hit the bell. We cover the wildest engineering decisions Detroit has ever made. And trust me, they've made plenty. But the weight reduction was just the appetizer. The main course? Multimatic DSSV suspension. Dynamic suspensions, spool valve technology straight from Formula One. Before the Z28, this suspension technology was previously seen in Formula One and ultra-exotic road cars like the Aston Martin 177, which cost $1.8 million. GM put $1.8 million suspension technology in a $75,000 Camaro. Disgustingly well-engineered. Unlike conventional shocks, DSSV provides 4-way damping adjustment, compression and rebound for both high and low-speed inputs. No electronic sensors. No complexity, just mechanical perfection that works the same on lap 1 as it does on lap 100. The brakes? Brembo carbon ceramic matrix. 6-piston frontal, 4-piston rear. The same fade-resistant technology you'd find on exotics costing 3 times as much. These brakes could handle repeated stops from 170 miles per hour without breaking a sweat. And then there were the tires. 305 section width Pirelli P0 Trofeo R on all four corners. At the time, these were the widest front tires on any production car, period. GM didn't want grip. They wanted a physics-defying amount of mechanical adhesion. 305 millimeters of tire on the front. Your average economy car has smaller rear tires. The aerodynamic package generated 150 pounds of downforce at 150 miles per hour. The front splitter could withstand 250 pounds of pressure without flexing. Even the Chevrolet bow tie badge was redesigned hollow, the flow tie, to channel an extra 2.5 cubic feet of air per minute to the radiator. October 2013. GM released the Nurburgring time, 7 minutes, 37.47 seconds, in deteriorating conditions with rain on sections of the track. In those conditions, the Z28 matched the Porsche 911 Carrera S, beat the Lexus LFA, and embarrassed the Lamborghini Murcielago. GM's chief engineer estimated dry conditions could have yielded a time around 7 minutes and 31 seconds. A $75,000 Camaro competing with cars costing twice as much. But the real story happened at VIR, Virginia International Raceway, during Car and Driver's Lightning Lap 2014. The Z28 posted a 250.9, finishing 0.1 second behind a Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, 0.1. Ferrari was so paranoid, they sent engineers to watch the test, convinced GM must be running funny tires. Nope. Those were the same Trophy ORs any buyer could get. Even better? The Z28 beat the Porsche 911 Turbo S by 0.3 of a second. In the VIR Turn 1, the Z28 matched the 1.16 G cornering force of a Porsche 918 Spider, the $918,000 hybrid hypercar. Now, about that Boss 302 comparison GM loved to talk about. On GM's own Milford Road course, where GM does the testing with GM drivers, the Z28 beat the Boss 302 Laguna Seca by 5.3 seconds over a 2.9-mile lap. Now, let's be honest here. Testing on your home track is a massive advantage. GM engineers knew every bump, every line, every optimal braking point. Al Oppenheiser, the Camaro chief engineer, openly admitted they specifically chose the Boss 302 Laguna Seca as the benchmark because, quote, that's their fastest track car. In independent testing, the story was more nuanced. At Willow Springs, the Porsche GT3 beat the Z28 by about 2.5 seconds. At Barber Motorsports Park, the GT3 won by half a second. Was the Z28 slower than Germany's finest? Yes, but competitive with cars costing nearly double. Half a second behind a Porsche GT3, in a Camaro, that still had back seats. I hate how much I love this. And now we arrive at the elephant in the showroom. $75,000. The Boss 302 started around $42,000. The Laguna Seca version topped out around $48,000. The Z28 cost $32,000 more than the base Boss. GM planned to build roughly 1,500 units per year for 2 years. Around 3,000 total. Reality? 1,801 units across both model years. In 2014, just 509 cars. In 2015, 1,292. The market had spoken. $75,000 for a Camaro, even one this magnificent, was asking too much. At least for most buyers. The ones who understood what they were getting, they paid gladly. The Z28 proved something important. GM could build a legitimate world-class track car when they stopped making excuses. No supercharger, no electronics, no shortcuts. Just brilliant mechanical engineering and the courage to delete the cup holders. The 2014 Z28 was the track car GM built to destroy Ford. And it absolutely would have, if Ford hadn't already left the battlefield. It arrived too expensive, too late, and too focused for mainstream success. But for 1,801 buyers, it was exactly what they wanted. A race car with license plates that could embarrass Ferraris and make Porsches nervous. This is Car Chronicles, where we celebrate the cars Detroit built when engineers ran the asylum. Next time, we're diving into another track weapon that didn't get the respect it deserved. Subscribe, because corporate insanity deserves witnesses.